Welcome back, everyone. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at string functions in SQL servers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my databases and go to AdventureWorks LT 2019 and select it. I'm going to create a new query window here and make sure that in the database selection it says AdventureWorks LT 2019. Yes, it does. So string functions, as you saw, they're actually located under this programmability, under functions, system functions, and you have tons of these string functions right here. We're going to take a look at some of these in this lesson. Let's get started by doing a select statement. So I'm going to do a select upper and pass to it last name, for instance, from sales LT dot customer. And if I were to execute this statement, you can see that all the last names are returned to me by in uppercase. As might be expected, there is one that's called lower. And if I were to do that, this is going to be all lowercase at this point. We could also do things such as maximum, even though it's not a string function. But let's actually take a look at this one. This might be kind of funny. We're going to do a maximum first name, or maximum of the length of first name is what I meant. So you can actually aggregate functions. So the length, of course, returns the length from sales LT dot customer, and this is going to return that there is somebody there named with a first name that has 24 letters in it. Well, who is this person? Let's see if we can actually find that person. I can do a simple query like first name from sales LT dot customer, and I can do an order by clause as we learned, but I'm going to order by length of the first name. And I'm going to do this in descending order. So the longest one shows up on top. And it's Janina Barrero Gambaro. So that's the person with the long first name. Let's take a look at some of these other string functions over here. As you can see, there is a replace function, which is quite useful. Allows you to replace a string by another string if you wanted to. Let's actually just do that. I have a bunch of Christophers right here, I see, so I can do a select, for instance, first name. And remember, this is just a selection, it's not changing anything. From sales LT dot customer, where first name is equal to Christopher. So this should return all the Christophers for us. There should be lots of them. Oh, well, there are 4 of them. What I can do is I can come over here and do a select replace. And I'm going to say first name is the string I'm searching for, and I'm looking for Christopher. And I'm going to replace that with, let's say, Chris. That's just to give you an example. It's a simple example. We did this for PO boxes in our exercise earlier. As you can see, all of these were changed to Chris. There's another one over here that I want to look at. For instance, SOUNDEX was an interesting one. So I'm going to do a select first name, comma, last name, and then SOUNDEX of, let's say, last name from sales LT dot customer. Let's see what that does. So you notice that we get this extra column with a bunch of values in here, and if you scroll down, eventually you're going to see some of these that may be actually repeated. And we could actually sort. I can say order by, SOUNDEX of last name. Let's actually do that. makes it easier than trying to find stuff. So as you can see, I have able is A140, able is A140. Trying to find some that are a little bit different and they have the same SOUNDEX values. Let me actually take a look at, for instance, in the B section. If I get to last names, might have some better luck in the B sections. Let's see. Oh, here you go. This one is Bowen and Byham and Bueno and Ben Sacher, I guess, or Sasher. And they all have the B500 value. And basically what SOUNDEX is, it says that these things sound similar. So they could be mixed up. Say if somebody's giving their last name over the telephone, they might mess it up unless they ask they would be asked to spell it, phonetically. Let's take a look at an example of this. I can say select first name, last name, and SOUNDEX of last name. Let's say I'm looking for all names that sound like the last name of, say, Brown. So I'm going to say where SOUNDEX of last name is equal to SOUNDEX of Brown. And here we have Brian, Brown, Bruno, is another Brian, another Bruno, a bunch of Browns and Brunos. So they all have the same SOUNDEX value. This could be quite useful in your programming if you're dealing with, say, last names, first names, etc. But I just want you to get a feel for what it actually does. I also want to take a look at a couple of the trim functions right here. I have a left trim, I have a right trim, and then I have just a trim. Let's just take a look at trim. I'm going to do select, and if I type in select, a bunch of spaces and put Bugs Bunny, bunch of spaces. If I do that, it actually spits out Bugs Bunny with the spaces, as you can see. Now, if I were to add the trim function, it actually trims the spaces from before and after. So you can see that this shifted properly. Left trim and right trim are just that. So if I do a right trim, it's going to just trim the right spaces right here. So you can see those spaces disappeared. And if I do a left trim, it will do the spaces over here, but doesn't touch those. So let's do that. And there you go. So I just wanted you to get a feel for some of these strings. There is a substring, which is quite useful for fetching part of a string. You can always take a look at the plus here and the parameters, and it tells you what you need to do. Excuse me for that menu that popped up. So it basically tells you, taking a look at this, here's the expression. It accepts a variable character, a national variable character, text, and text var binary. So it can accept any of those, basically, is what it's telling you. Starting position, where you want to start, and the length that you want to, and it returns a variable character. So based on this, if I were to do a select substring and basically hand to it the expression that I want, so Bugs Bunny, for instance, is my expression, and it says what's the starting position. The starting position is 3, and it says the length you want to count, I want to count 4, and it's going to basically return that substring for us. There you go. So GS. So if you take a look at this, position 3, there's 1, 2, 3, so that's G. And then here we're going to start 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what got returned. Now keep in mind that in SQL, the counting does start at position 1, not at 0. Okay. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you are enjoying these videos, please share with loved ones and friends. And again, as always, thank you for being a great audience.